never took the time to dry her eyes. She'd say the morning light would make things right. Oh, night.
You are now listening to the Future Ancestors podcast. On behalf of my co-host here, Casarano, I am Jason Insight. We have special guests in the building today. I'm just going to get right into it as we always do. We want our stories told, but sometimes we find these stories in ways we don't necessarily expect. Today's guest is telling our stories using the musical as her vehicle. An actor, writer, and community organizer from the New York area, Lianah is the 2024 recipient of the Asian American Arts Alliance Van Lier Fellowship in Theater Acting. Lianah is the creator behind the musical Performing Filipina, telling our vibrant yet untold stories of Filipino women through the lens of history, culture, and resistance. While developing her musical, the Columbia University grad organizes community events highlighting fellow creatives and raising crucial social justice issues of our time. Recently, Performing Filipina was chosen as a semifinalist for the 2025 Pipeline Award for New Musical Theater. So let's hear about what Performing Filipina is all about and the person behind it by welcoming to the Future Ancestors podcast, Lianah Santa Ana. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Here.
Oh.
So we always start off by asking our guests, where's your family from in the Philippines, and how did that shape who you are today?
Yeah, for sure. So both my parents immigrated over from the Philippines to the States, to Staten Island, when they were like young adults, like teenagers. My mom was a little younger. They grew up all over, but primarily settled in Staten Island. My dad is from Taytay, and my mom is from Bulacan. I have had the pleasure of visiting Taytay very recently, actually. I went to the Philippines in January for my cousin's wedding, and my dad took us around his village and he walked around and showed us all where all his friends lived. He saw a couple of his friends and was they were showing us their motorcycle collections, and he's like, this is what that family does. They're known in the area for doing that. And so yeah, it was really fun to be with him and revisit his childhood memories and friends.
I need to see pictures of this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the lowrider culture,
Yeah.
in the West Coast. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was pretty crazy. He has the whole garage full of just bikes that they've loved and tended to and restored, and it's amazing.
Awesome.
The collection.
How did that make you feel? And your dad? That must have been so nostalgic for him.
You often hear about how, immigrating, leaving the only life that you know to come across the world is a big sacrifice, but I never quite, and always something that they say, we're willing to do to give you a better life. But I never understood the depth of that until until I visited his home, and he was really chipper and happy to show us everything that was dear to him, but I could also tell, oh, there's so much nostalgia there. So it really deepened my understanding of what that sacrifice, the willingness to make that sacrifice entails. And just my gratitude is endless, and I'm really grateful that I could share that moment with my dad and my sister, and it was a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all have that moment of realizing that, because we don't have that lens of where we came from, and then just seeing it in the person for the first time. I know you recently had your first trip to the Philippines, so I know it totally it soaks in. So let's get into what you do. So you're in the performing arts. what actually inspired you to get into it in the first place? And was there maybe one person, maybe someone you looked up to that inspired you?
Yeah. I started singing like a lot of Filipinos at family parties doing karaoke. And my parents were always like, wow, she's like pretty good. Like she can hold a tune and like memorize songs at a very young age. But they never really like thought anything of it. They were like, wow, she's just Filipino. It was my family that encouraged, my titas and my lola specifically, that encouraged my parents to put me in voice lessons. And so when they finally did, as if I was like older, I was like 4 years old. when they did.
Oh.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years old when they did. And usually
Amazing.
my teacher at the time didn't take students that young, but I like sang like,
And she
I
was
sang
sold.
some song for her from like Les Mis or something, and she was like, "Okay, we'll take her."
Hold up, well, Les Mis at 4?
Yeah.
This is not Wheels Around the Bus.
No,
I actually have been privileged enough to hear her voice. Ancestral. I'm telling you, it's powerful. But anyway, sorry. Keep
Yeah.
going.
Thank you. Oh my God, sorry.
No, you're good.
Sorry, I'm coming down from a cold, so.
okay.
But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I sang from Les Mis. It was "Castle on a Cloud," so it's the song that the little Cosette sings, so more believable. It wasn't like I dreamed a dream.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I started voice lessons at 4 or 5 years old, and then ever since I kept singing. My parents would always drive me to contests and local competitions and concerts, and just be like, put her on there, put her on stage. And so, yeah, I grew up just performing and singing, and then I got into acting when I was in middle school, doing a school musical that like we all wrote ourselves. It was based off of Ghostbusters, but we couldn't call it Ghostbusters for copyright reasons, so we called it "Who You Gonna Call?" And it was
I like that.
it was so silly, but I had the best time, and I was like, wait, I think I wanna act more. And so in high school, I entered the like magnet program that you have to like audition to get into the acting department, and I got in, and I fell deeper in love with acting. And then I was like, I want to do musicals, and I want to do plays, and I want to be on TV and all the things. And so thankfully I had like connections because I sang everywhere when I was younger. So I got an agent, and then ended up auditioning for the production of Miss Saigon that was revived in 2017. Ended up booking that after a year-long process of auditions, and
Amazing.
yeah, the rest is history. Now I just live here, and I'm trying to get more work.
You're so cute. Who were the first examples of strong women that inspired performing Filipino?
So, yeah, there were a lot of strong women in my life.
Yeah.
there are. I mean, my mom. My mom, my lola, all of my lolas, my titas. I was raised in an environment that really taught me how to practice care and how to practice love, and there was always an abundance of food at family parties, and everyone would look forward to this tita's lumpia recipe or this tita's like San Serval. Like it was always like like everyone, like pride and joy, like everyone's recipes, and everyone was really proud to be feeding family in that way. So I grew up with in really loving community environments, and like crazy and chaotic like Filipino families are, but really loving. We always had an abundance of everything, and so I think that foundation that particularly the women of my family set is what allowed me to sing and to pursue my dreams and feel supported. And so yeah, no, I owe everything to the women in my family, and that's certainly why I was inspired to write Performing Filipina. There's a song, one of the final songs in the show, called Nai, or Nanay, which is mommy in Tagalog.
Yep.
I wrote that song to pay homage to all of the women and to all of the nurturing and loving and passionate
It's
and
so
driven
beautiful.
women in my life. Yeah. Yeah. So
It's so beautiful. Like I literally had tears. I was like, why? I didn't even know that like what this event that I was going to was I met through her cousin. I found out through her cousin.
yeah.
So when I got there, I didn't know what it was, and then I heard her voice. I'm like, what is this? and then you sang that song, and I was like, oh, it's over. I'm crying.
Oh, yeah.
So it seems like she kind of awakened something that you're already feeling.
Yep.
And I
Absolutely.
think that's part of what performing Filipino is all about. So can you just explain what it is?
Yeah.
It's a musical, we know that, but can
Yeah.
you just like explain to everybody who's listening
Yeah.
what it is and what all the details behind it?
Yeah, for sure. So, Performing Filipina is something that I wrote. We very cheekily call it a new kind of musical with quotations around the kind of, because it doesn't follow the like what people imagine musicals to do. They don't. It doesn't have like a singular like character or singular plot that you like follow throughout the journey, and there's like a single climax, and then like there's like denouement. I learned that word in like elementary school, and I never got rid of it. Yeah, it's a fragmented piece of storytelling. Is how I like to describe it, because it takes us through. It tells us stories of the Filipino woman and how she came to be. Through various means, exploring American imperial texts and Reddit threads that talk about Filipino women, but also exploring the personal stories, or my family's stories, what Filipina-ness looks like in our personal memory. So yeah, it's a combination of a lot of things. I've reimagined some Filipino folk songs that are very familiar, like Cariñosa, like Dalagang Pilipina, Dahil Sa'yo. And I've also written original songs for it as well. So it's a conglomeration of things that feel familiar, but are introduced in a new way, all in order to sort of challenge what we think about our identities and deepen our understanding and introduce it in a new light, in a way that we can reclaim it on our own terms. So yeah, there's a lot happening. It follows a group of 6 Filipino women as they try to unravel their identities and find it anew. Yeah.
I love that. So how much of it was inspired by your personal life? And then, did you find anything new about yourself through that process?
Yeah. I think whenever I talk about performing Filipina in like grant applications, I talk about its origins, and it started formally as a writing prompt in my senior thesis seminar, but I think it's something that I've been reflecting on like my whole life, especially in high school, in my teenage years, when I started thinking more critically about identity and its formation, and like what even makes me me, like what is Filipino, It was born as a personal reflection of that, like where do I find meaning in my identity? But now it's more of like a communal call to action. Like I want people to think critically about our world and think about our interconnections and think about how we're all related, how our struggles for liberation are related, and how we can see that in other oppressed peoples across the world.
I love that.
I want people to be able to utilize identity as the introduction points to think deeper about systems and about our histories, personal and or otherwise. So yeah, I forgot the question. I just kind of went on my own tangent.
Oh,
but
no.
there's
You're fine. Yeah, no. But yeah, I feel like we're aligned in that way, because that's pretty much why we're doing Future
What we do.
Ancestors.
Yeah. So from that, these themes, this part of our history that maybe people don't automatically see because they see smiling faces, and you're not necessarily exposing it, but showing that it existed. What do you want audiences to get out of the experience of performing Filipina?
You mentioned smiling faces, and I
Yes.
think that's one of the things that the show talks about. Like, at face value, you know, we're happy workers, we're resilient, we're willing to do our jobs under any circumstances, we're willing to make the sacrifice, and a lot of that is put on. I mean, a lot of that is true, but there's also like material basis for it. Like, why did we have to leave the Philippines? Why because there's so many, like the labor export policy, like the reason we can't leave is because, or the reason we have to seek homes and livelihoods elsewhere is because the joblessness and landlessness and lack of, you know, prosperity for Filipinos back home is so fragile. There's this, because of our histories of colonialism under the Spanish, under the Japanese, under the United States, as it continues this special relationship, the basic needs of Filipino people are not tended to.
Yeah.
And so we have to leave to find home elsewhere, to find livelihoods elsewhere, because of all of these material conditions. So I want people to think more critically about like why certain stereotypes exist. Like, why are we all nurses? Like, why do we all take up domestic service and hospitality jobs here? We're not servants. We're here because we can't.
It's deeper.
Yeah, it's deeper. And so I just want people to think. I hope that Performing Filipina inspires people to really investigate that history and to understand why we're here in the first place, and how also our people have been fighting for a national democracy and been fighting for their lives, their livelihoods, and their rights, and continue to struggle for their own liberation in the Philippines and across the diaspora. So I want people to connect their identities more critically to history and to also our ongoing revolutionary struggles in the present.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's so powerful.
I have a question in relation to that. And from what you're saying is the thing that popped into my head was, like literature, the musical can also be a reflection of the times of the person itself. But in terms of the musical, how do you kind of get those concepts and put it down? Because it's one thing when you're like, oh, I'll write a book or do it in that format, but in the form of a musical, I'm into more in the process of, because it's music, but it's also a story. How do you put it all together when putting a musical in the first place?
Yeah. I think that was one of the guiding questions of why I chose to write Performing Filipina in the way that I did, as this like fragmentary narrative, because there are so many questions that I'm still working through. So yeah, how do you put all of that complicated like nonsense into a singular thing? I think I've not to like pat myself on the back, but like
You can.
I think
It's okay. You can.
I think the form that I chose is suited to trying to make sense of that nonsense. I'm very like direct in that there's a lot of forces at play when we think about identity, and so Performing Filipina tries to, in some way, take a look at all of them, even if it is just an introductory thing. And I do, spoiler, end at this moment, end the play being like, culture is changing every day. Our identities and what that means changes every day. But we are the makers of meaning. And so it's our responsibility to take part in it because we can. So, you know, the musical is very upfront about all of the questions that I'm still asking and still uncovering answers to. But that doesn't make me, I can't be passive when I try to uncover meaning. And so hopefully that inspires other people to also actively engage in the questions. yeah, it continues to change. And we'll see where it ends up when we eventually put it up. Yeah.
So what's one part of composing a musical that no one tells you about? That you can share with our listeners.
How much money it costs. How much money and time. I mean, I rarely do people do everything on their own, and now I understand why. It's so much work. I mean, you're writing. Not only are you writing the songs, you're writing the scripts, and you're also transcribing everything. You're also notating music, and it's a lot of skills that I had to learn as I went. I did, take voice lessons and piano lessons, so I have an understanding of music theory, but I had never written any of my own work down. So yeah, I just didn't know how much work it was going to be. It's so much work, and I'm so willing to do it. But I
love that you are. Because everyone thinks about like the final product, right? But to get to that final product is like, oh shit.
Years and years and years. Yeah, and I'm still like in the early stages, really, when people break it down. Everyone's like, Hamilton took 10 years, and like everything takes years and years and years. So
great things take time. So.
Yeah. I'm learning more to be
patient.
Be patient. Yeah, because things will happen in their time. But yeah.
It's interesting though, because when I went to your event, I didn't feel like you were that far, to be honest. Like the music is amazing.
Thank you.
The purpose, the meaning, everything behind it, even the things that you wrote and shared. I thought it was like soon. Like I'm like, can't wait to see it. Hopefully 2025, but I think it's gonna be a little bit longer now. Now after talking, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Hopefully soon.
We're glad we're privy to the journey.
Yes.
And on the way. And I know, it's a long process you have to do, but I know you're not doing it alone.
Yeah.
So one thing we do know about Broadway is there is a large Filipino community that's involved in it, performing in it, and they're very vocal and active. Can you talk about the Filipino theater community and what it means to you, and maybe how it's helped your journey?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I also thank you for saying I'm not doing it alone. I am not. I deeply want to pay respects to you both in this room for allowing me the chance to talk about my art. And Cindy Tsai has been an incredible collaborator throughout this. So I'm definitely not alone. But yeah, I am also, as you say, surrounded by the Filipino theater community, which is crazy. Everybody knows each other. It's crazy. It's so fun though, because when you're just like out and about and like you see another Filipino at auditions, and you get to be like, oh, hey, we know each other either directly or have so many mutual friends. But yeah, so there's this group called Broadway Barkada, which started by Liz Casasola, Billy Bustamante, Brian Jose, and they were my introduction to Filipinos in the theater community. They host a lot of events, whether just social gatherings, but also like they put on concerts sometimes. There's actually an upcoming event that Performing Filipina is presenting at in March. Oh, wow, it is March already. That's crazy. So,
is it open to the public or just?
It is, yeah.
Oh, when is it?
It's March 29th.
Oh.
Yeah, a week after our shindig. Sorry, we'll talk about it later.
Yes.
But yeah, no, March is a crazy month. Who knew?
I love it.
But yeah, so Broadway Barkada, a lot of Filipinos in that community, and really like took me in when I was young. I mean, I am young, but
thank you for saying that, because I'm like, girl.
when I was like really like baby young, just getting in the industry, like at 17 years old, like a lot of Filipinos. I had a lot of experienced Filipinos to really look up to and seek guidance from, and how to like navigate the theater industry. So they're really great, and more Filipinos continue to get into musical theater and to get into acting, and I'm glad that I'm part of that legacy, and I get to like meet new folks every day. Like the other day, I work front desk at a theater company, and someone was coming in for an audition, and then she was like, "Hey, are you Lianah? I know you. I've met your sister, and I know you." And like, so yeah, it's just, it feels like one big family, and with family, you know, we all have our little quirks and our little like maybe like chismes, but like that's what makes it family. So it's the Filipinos in theater are alive and thriving, and I'm really grateful to be part of that community.
That's awesome. We have to bring some more guests on here from that community.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So this one is a little bit long-winded. So Filipinos are natural performers, yet our stories haven't always been at the forefront of mainstream theater. What barriers does still exist for Filipino artists, and how do we create more spaces for our voices?
Yeah. That's a big question, because I mean, I think, okay. So there are a lot of Filipinos working and acting and doing things. But yeah, it is often not our stories. We're often, you know, I was a Vietnamese woman in Miss Saigon. I was, or just other, you know, Asians, wherever we can like fit the bill, fill the spot.
The profile,
So we are working, but are often not telling our stories. I think actually, though, a lot of Filipino writers and Filipino producers and who want to see our stories are really taking up that challenge and making their own work. And so it is exciting to see more things coming out. I just did a short film that was about a Filipino family. So many projects here and there that are coming out. Started, you know, like grassroots efforts, like self-funding, like myself performing Filipina. I think it is up to us to sort of like claw the door open, and not wait for permission, and to, you know, there's also like no, like, I hesitate to say this, but like no right way to do anything. Like everyone is truly figuring it out. And so like if the producing pathway that is like typical isn't working out for you, like just make a new way, because there's no one way to do it. We all have to be creating. So I think the largest obstacle is ourselves, like
1,000%.
And also like capitalism, but like I that, you know, like instills the mentality that there is only one way to do it. We are all in competition with each other. There's a scarcity of resources. It's our responsibility to say no to that mentality. No, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna do it, because our people deserve more than thinking that there is a lack.
That limited thinking.
So it is a tough challenge. It's a hard task, but and you know, once you like break that mentality, it will always come crushing back. We're beholden to so many of the structures, and I'm beholden to like making a wage, and like so it is hard, but knowing that you're fighting for a better world is the motivating force that keeps me going, at least.
Same.
Yeah, that's, I think, the finding that revolutionary optimism and hope is key. Yeah.
How do you stay there?
Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't, and that's okay.
Exactly.
I think
love that.
Yeah. I think knowing that I mean, I struggle all the time. I run around
Well, we're
from
artists,
job to
so-
job, and I do so many organizing unpaid labor things that are truly just like passion projects and acts of love. Like, I think staying, I stay in that revolutionary optimism because I know that our liberation is inevitable, and I want to be part of realizing it and encouraging and empowering other people in realizing it too. And there are times where I'm just like bogged down by all of the tasks that I have to do, but I think knowing that a brighter horizon is inevitable is what keeps me going, even when I'm in like the mud and I'm in the weeds, and I know that something is just around the corner. It's just a matter of like taking it up. And so finding that power in myself has been key in staying there.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, what advice would you give to someone who's also interested in musical theater, in entertaining, that would want to write their own musical for themselves? What piece of advice would you give them?
Just write it and get it out there. Present works in progress to audiences, to your family, to your friends. Just start writing. The first things you do are probably going to be bad. Mine were so bad. Sometimes I go through my like drive folder and I look back at like my first playwriting class notes and I'm like, this is so bad. But I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I failed. Be okay with failure, because that's the only way that you learn and you grow. Failure and struggle and strife, welcome it all, because from that you can reflect on it and grow. So yeah, that's the advice. Write, be bad at it, and then get better. And do it in community. Like, yeah, you know, I said share with your family, friends. Do it in community. Hear what other people are thinking. To write something good, people ultimately, they just want to have a good time. And so figure out what the popular forms are. And if you have a message, if you have something to say, utilize that. Either turn it on its head, turn popular forms on their head, or, you know, utilize them to get a message across. Figure out what people like. Hopefully it's something you like too. And just make what makes you happy. Have fun. Wow, that was like a lot of advice.
No, that's great.
It's all
That's great.
different, but hopefully it made sense.
That's great. So if you could have one person living or from history watch performing Filipina, who would it be, and what would be the first question you would ask them?
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
Only one.
Only one. Okay, honestly, my Lola. She passed. My mommy Lola is what we all call her. Yeah, I would want her to see it so much. I mean, I wrote Nye, like thinking about her. I wrote it like like the year after she passed, and yeah, I would want her to see it. I would want to know what she thought, and she thought it was good. She liked it. Yeah, because I mean those are the people that I'm trying to reach. I'm trying to reach my family. I'm trying to reach my friends. I'm trying to reach my community. So yeah, my Lola.
So sweet.
You know.
So what's your dream for the future?
Every time I'm with you, girl. What in the world? Okay. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Continue.
yes.
I'm back.
You good?
I'm good.
Deep breath. All right. So what do you see for the future of performing Filipino? What is your dream, and where do you hope to take it next?
most immediately, this concept album. I want to do it. I want to make it sound good. I want people to like it. I like the music. I want it.
It's great.
I want it to sound
It's
good.
great.
I want the production to be awesome and to really get people in a good mood, in a fired up, passionate mood. Yeah, I want the music to reach people. And the biggest goal of the show is I just want it to reach people. And we've made so many shifts and twists and turns in trying to figure out what the best way to do that is. And right now we're settling on getting the concept album out because we see music being the introductory point to the show itself. It sets the tone for so many things. The music is like genre wise, like all over the place in a very intentional way. And so I want people to experience that and to perk their ears up and be like, oh, what is this? I want more. So yeah, concept album, want to release it on streaming platforms and figure out a way to like host listening parties, like not just in the city, in New York City, but maybe like across the country in the Bay Area or, in Seattle. Where are the Filipinos at? I want to find
everywhere.
the communities. Yeah. And get to talking, and hopefully performing Filipina is the entry point. But really, I just want to build community, and I want to build up our people. I mean, I know we're already there. I know we're flourishing. But I want to meet everybody.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's the big main goal for Pouring Filipina, and hopefully the concept album is the launching pad, another like a grant language. My brain is in grant language. We just submitted one, yeah, I hope the concept album is a way to make more future opportunities possible to engage with community and to have community discussions and discuss the larger themes and our histories and our reflections on identity. So yeah, hopefully everything that I do and have done with Performing Filipina is all in an attempt to continue building community with Filipinos and with everyone. So yeah, that's the main goal.
Well, speaking of this concept album, how can people support you? What do you have coming up? What do you have going on?
Oh my gosh. What do I have going on? I wonder what's happening on March 22nd.
Yes, at Hidden Tiger.
Yeah, I mean, you can come out to that. It's going to be a
Yes.
blast. We visited Hidden Tiger yesterday.
Yes.
Literally yesterday. And we were like, oh my God,
So
it's my
cute.
first time being there. And it's so cute.
Yeah.
It's so fun in there. So yeah, we're gonna play mahjong maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? We're gonna have a good time and party and
Yeah.
get
Grace is DJing.
Yes, shout out Grace yourself.
Yes.
I'll be singing a little doodad,
Yes.
and
Yes.
yeah, and it'll be a really good time. People should definitely come out.
Yeah,
to
come
that.
out. We are raising funds for the concept album. Yeah, and in true Future Ancestors form, it's always partying with a purpose. So
Exactly.
we will have our own little, tidbits there as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So last and final question. Performing Filipina is a part of your legacy. What is Liana's legacy as a future ancestor?
Is this like a how do I want to be remembered question? Oh. I feel like I am always like, when I am in my lowest low and when I'm like, am I even doing anything? Like,
Girl, doing a lot.
I just want to make things that matter to people. I want to be remembered as a person who did shit, even when like she messed up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because I feel like I am always like the sponge in the room. I'm incredible. Like, oh my God, I'm gassing myself up. What am I doing?
No, that's great.
I really like to be observant and know what's happening around me, my situation, the circumstances, all the things. And like, I feel like I've like soaked up so much that I just want to share everything with the world. And so I hope that my legacy is I don't know. I hope people think of me as like someone who just wanted to make the world a better place and did what she could to do it.
I love it. That was brave enough to do it, because performing Filipina is great.
Thank you.
It's a great concept. The fact that you're doing everything on your own, you're writing, you're composing, like, it's amazing. So next time you ask yourself that question, please remember what you're doing.
Thank you.
Because you're doing a lot.
Thanks, girl.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. And
At all.
It's very admirable to see, because even just having a concept and then making it into what you have right before you, it's not. So we appreciate you
Yes.
for doing that and coming here today on Future
Yes.
Answers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So this is a portion of our episode where we play a couple of games and
Oh my
see if you want to play.
Yes.
So our first one is our this or that. Gonna just ask you, just pick one or the other.
And don't pick both. A lot of our guests are like, do I have to choose one? Yes,
my
it's
God.
one, this or that.
Okay, I'm ready.
The pressure's on. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, we'll have Kat start.
Okay, so late night creative sessions or early morning inspiration?
Late night.
Oh.
I am a night owl.
I wish I could be a night owl. I can't
I
stay
can't
awake.
anymore. I used to be.
Yes.
No, I think it's just because I when I was younger and like I had like to write a paper or whatever by a certain deadline, I like convinced myself that I work well under pressure, and now it's like my most creative hours. So, yeah.
All right, next one. Singing or composing?
Singing. I love performing. I love singing. Singing.
It's awesome.
Okay.
So writing on a computer or using a pen and paper?
I wish I were a pen and paper girl. I wish I had a notebook and I brought it around everywhere. I am a computer user.
All right, next one. Performing on stage or writing behind the scenes?
Performing on stage. I can't help it. I got the bug. I got the bug.
I love it. So creating in a group setting or alone?
I'm gonna say group setting, but with the caveat that I love being like just in my little zone. Like when you're in the zone, you're like in the
it's
zone.
different. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like a drug.
Yeah,
Oh my
it
God. I like get high on my own creativity. So I do love that sensation, but I also like so many like amazing contributions have happened because I've worked with people. So I can't.
You picked both, by the way.
I know, that's so true. You said don't do that.
Yo, call the round over there.
I don't play by
I
the
love
rules.
how you said the word caveat.
Yo.
I'm like, girl, you're just picking both.
I know, no,
okay,
but
it's
That was the most
definitely-
polite put
It
him on
was.
blast ever.
So you picked both.
Yo, I gotta clap for that one. I need to be more polite. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so
You're up.
one more game. This is a lot faster. Rapid fire. First thing that comes to mind, just spit it out. Okay?
Okay.
Got it? All right. So I'll
Okay.
start this.
I thought you were just start. What do
All
you
right.
think?
So first one, I'll start this one. Favorite musical or play of all time? What is your favorite?
Oh, The Great Comet came to mind. I loved watching that production on Broadway. I wish I saw it when it was in the tent. But yeah, I love the music. Great Comet.
I'm not familiar with that
The
one, so I
Great
gotta look
Comet.
that one.
Yes, The Great Comet of 1812, Dave
Oh.
Malloy.
Yeah, I've never.
Okay, we're gonna look that one up.
Okay. Can you share a quote that you live by?
Oh no, I don't live by this quote, but it's the only one that's coming to mind. Oh my God, people are gonna be like sacrilegious. No, so in my house, my mom is religious, and I grew up Catholic. I am not practicing. I'm sorry, don't crucify me.
No.
But
I think we all do.
Yeah.
We're under that umbrella.
But she had this quote like in our bathroom, like by the sink, "With God, all things are possible." And I just think sometimes it just like comes to mind, and now it's like one of
it's
those moments. And so that's the quote.
Okay.
Can't help it.
With God, all things are possible. That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is a beautiful
Yeah,
sentiment.
it is.
I really
It definitely
do.
is.
And
And I actually do believe that. to be honest. Like I'm not a religious person. I'm very spiritual, but I still do believe in God.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
I do, like, when I pray to my Lola and I pray to my ancestors. So I think like the spirituality aspect
Yes.
of it is still rings true.
Yes.
So I guess there is some truth to that. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of adaptation.
Yeah, and it's also
Yeah.
energy. So energetically, if you're believing, it happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I know. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go on a whole religious tirade.
Yeah, we'll
But-
be here for another hour. so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Favorite Filipino comfort meal?
Oh, lugao. Lugao, or like arroz caldo, is that what
Yeah.
people call it? Yeah, I grew up calling it lugao.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever I am sick, my mom would make it for me, and I just made myself a batch because
Oh,
I was like
nice.
feeling under the weather. But yeah, lugao.
So something that you do to decompress.
Lay down, like literally just lay down.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah. I cuddle with my partner. That's always fun. And yeah, I just rest. I just like curl up into a ball. Yeah, that.
Awesome. Okay, next one. A song that gets you motivated for the day.
Oh my God, this game is crazy because I don't think this is true, but it's the first thing that came up in my head. Happy, Pharrell Williams.
Oh.
I be like, when you say like get up, motivation. That is the immediate song. The song from Despicable Me. That's crazy.
No, when that song first came out, yes. I think maybe because people like knocked on it because they heard it so many times. But the
Yeah.
song alone,
Yeah,
no, I
it's a
totally
great
agree.
song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
every commercial
Yeah.
in the world. That
It's
one.
ingrained in you.
Yeah.
So the best piece of advice you ever received?
I think this a version of this I gave, but like be okay with failure, like fail, like just do it, 'cause it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is how you learn. So
yeah, failure is how you learn.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Well, that's it. That's all we got.
yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, thank you.
Oh my God, that was fun. That was fun. I was a little nervous, but that was fun. I'm all like,
No,
Lucy now.
you didn't come off nervous at all. I love what you're doing, and I'm hopeful when people listen to it, they'll be inspired to do and be creative as well.
And come join us on
Yes.
when is it? Saturday?
The 22nd, 2 to 6
I'm
p.m.
the word. Yes. I am the worst promoter. Yes. So join us this Saturday at Hidden Tiger. I don't know the address, but Google it.
Yes.
It's somewhere.
Yeah.
New York City.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you again for coming on. Can you bless our listeners with a little bit of your voice?
Yes, I have to cough first.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay. This girl is so powerful. I'm so excited right now.
Okay, this is a little bit of Nye.
Oh gosh. You're really trying to make me cry today.
I know. I'll just start bringing tissues.
Yes, you
No,
need
it's
to.
okay.
When are you gonna come see me?
When people cry, I cry too. So don't.
Okay.
Okay. I'll start.
Okay.
Night used to tuck me in at night, all night. Would leave her memories at my bedside. Oh, night. Oh, night. Never took the time to dry her eyes. She'd say the morning light would make things right. Oh, night.